Well, it's a couple days before Christmas. I've got a primer and just a chassis black undercoating on the Ford F100. All the rust panels are done and that's taken care of. So while I let this dry, I figured we will go out and take a quick step outside. The cowl is, we're gonna have to order a new one of these. It is Gonzo. It's rusted all the way through on both sides. After that was sandblasting, so that's nothing that can be taken care of. But if you remember the last video, I went out of town and bought a used car, kind of a beater. If we notice, there was snow on the ground a couple weeks ago and it was cold. It's been actually 50, 60 degrees last couple days and been very nice. Very non-typical winter, being the Christmas is a day or two away. How you doing, Rusty? Yeah, and waiting on the engine parts on that so we can put the new third engine in that one. So that will be when it will be. But yesterday I took my new beater in town and went cruising around with her. Like any used car. Yeah, she's gorgeous, isn't she? Let's do a little maintenance and take care of some issues with it. So, no used car is going to be absolutely perfect. A couple of the problems that this little girl has. It's major problems. The radio, which I could turn it on and then it'll play music and then people get upset about music making sounds. The knob, the volume knob, is broken. You touch it or just lightly bump it and it goes from like volume 2 to volume 30 instantaneously, and with, you know, huge old speakers right there and that kind of deal. And with my awesome shake, I cannot get it to come into sound. If you turn it off and mute it and turn it back on and very gently touch the knob and go up and down, you can kind of get it to come in, and then it goes wide open volume. So the little volume control diode thingy behind here is broken, and it is, you know, the fancy 6-disc CD changer, because it's all about the technology of that. So we're going to fix that today, and I'll show you what we're going to do there. The other problem that she has is our powered pedals. There's a cool little button right here that moves the pedals up and down. And you notice how the clutch doesn't move. Well, when I got the car, the clutch was in the furthest out position, which made my tall, lengthy butt kind of hard to clean the clutch. So I have the clutch shoved all the way up in as far as it can go in the up position, and it's kind of locked into position so that I can drive it the way it is. Basically fixed all the way back is all it needs to be for me. But I did find a solution for that, which is over here. And I'll move this for a second. This is the actual broken piece for, focus, that powered clutch. You see it's like a threaded plastic nylon nut and a bushing to it. It's actually this piece right here. So you have a smooth sleeve, a threaded sleeve. I looked everywhere, tried looking online, trying to find this piece, and it's like it doesn't exist. But I found on good old Liney Line, somebody had, I parted out VIPER powered pedals that actually still works. The motor works, so if you put power to the motor, you got them to work. And how the assembly kind of works is, let me flip it around here. This motor spins this over here, and it spins this little controller, and this controller spins on that rod, and this is what moves the pedal up and down. If you look, I can move the pedal. So that's all the way out. So that's the piece that I took off. So this is the piece that goes there, basically like that. And it goes up and down. And so this one's still on there. There it is still on. So basically bought this entire pedal assembly for this little piece of plastic, but now I have extra motors, extra driver, extra pieces for all this if I ever need to do it. Here's the bummer. This was really hard to take apart on the bench. I can barely get my hand up under that dash and touch the piece that's there. So that may or may not happen, but we're going to see what happens. But before we get to that, we'll put that over here. I do have, since I have a handful of different old Chryslers, a new radio, or used for me. It's the same radio shape that has the rounded corners, and it's the right era radio. That's the same as that car, except for this is just a single disc, not a 6-disc, which, let's be honest, we're not really not rocking CDs all the time. But looking online, talking to some people, they said there's a very high possibility that this radio won't work with those electronics because the 6-disc one, there's something else different inside of it that talks to the car. So I have this, which is pretty cool. It is the 6-disc CD changer. All the right connections that way, and see that little blue button right there? You push that because this has been rewired to be Bluetooth. So now, you know, I mean, that's who they are. Hopefully this works out amazing. It really wasn't that expensive. Very quick and easy to do. So I am going to just pull that radio out, put this radio in, and then I can still use my phone and everything with it. And it has the 6-disc CD changer capability. So that's a fun little upgrade or fix that I'm going to do to it. So that guy is not needed. Let's get that thrown in. I'll take my time so we don't scratch or damage her. Take that centerpiece out, and I'll stay out here so I don't have to smell the paint fumes in the other shop for a little bit. Hi, girl. You guys playing nice? Yeah, they play nice. So this is a thing. To get this center, you have to take the bottom piece off first. So there's the bottom piece. And, oh, look at this. This ring around the shifter, this, and that is a thick piece of metal. Like that's like something substantial. That's a big stainless steel, and it's not plastic by any means. And I'll tell you, when you're running and it's a little hot, the stick is so low. If you look at this and where the stick is, I shift and drive my hand right here. That metal ring gets hot because the transmission, I'm touching the transmission right there. That's the transmission. You are sitting next to the transmission, which, to be totally honest, race car. I mean, I like that. I don't mind it. Is it comfortable for a daily driver? No. You're grabbing hold of a hot transmission, shifting gears. You know you're on top of a transmission. But had to unplug that. We've got this kind of pulled off. I was trying to work this out. After I got this, I'm looking along. And way down there is a Phillips screw that I almost broke. So let's get this in there and get that screw taken off. And let's see if I can take very, very, very carefully. Hey, it moves a lot easier now. I'm sure I've got cords and wires on the back side. I got to figure out how to unplug without disconnecting it. So I'm going to set the phone down so I can put my little peepers behind here and see what I can do to unplug stuff, because it looks like this button and the controls are all part of this. All right, I got the backs unplugged. I got this off. You know, on some of these Vipers, there's some that have, like, the blue Viper will have a blue handle on the parking brake and a blue, like the steering will be half blue, like blue here, and blue here, and like there's little blue accents in the car. And to be honest, I think it looks kind of cheesy, like they're trying to do something. I don't hate the blue in this center area on this car. I kind of thought it was aftermarket or somebody else did it. But looking at the paint on the backside and the way this is together, I'm leaning to say this is factory blue center console, which I was thinking about having it wrapped or dipped in like a carbon fiber, but the way these are done and left silver, I'm now going to keep the blue. I think I like the blue center. I mean, I absolutely love the blue car and I love the blue accents too. I don't like when it's like you're just kind of trying to throw blue in just to, you know, like a blue Viper, but no, I think that is factory, the way that blue is with the stickers and stuff on the back. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the blue is going to stay. I like it. So let's get that radio out and see how the other one works. I wonder if everything's unplugged, if I can test it. I mean, really the starter is here. I don't need to start the car, but I should be able to turn it on with the radio in it. And before I have to put all this back together. Well, in the middle of trying to get the antenna out, this piece that goes in there stuck in the radio, and I can pull it out. The end of the antenna, focus, broke off, so I'm going to see if I can fix that and clamp that and get that fixed before I put the radio in. One thing I was looking at is this is the radio that came out of the car, and I can't tell if that sticker is like a aftermarket thing, because this radio right here, the one I had, has that same sticker. So I wonder if that's a factory thing. But this is the radio that I'm not using. This is the radio that I am using. One bummer is this radio has that cool knob that matches the other knobs, but I want to see if I can get that knob and change it with that, and I will work on that while I'm checking that antenna. So I was fighting with this knob, trying to get this knob off, because this knob matches these knobs, which, back to, they always talk about Vipers are just made from leftover Dodge parts, which, yeah, that looks like the same heater control in a minivan to the Dodge truck, but these knobs totally look different with this, and these are actually metal. That's a metal little deal. This matches that center ring of the shifter. I don't know if this is an aftermarket thing or somebody came out and made, but they have an itty bitty set screw in there, which I went digging through every Allen I had, and I finally found a 0.5. It's like a piece of wire. And I actually tested on these. This one was actually loose. When you twisted the metal part, it didn't always turn the knob, but now it does. And I was able to get that off, but I thought I had the wrong size Allen trying to get this off, and I couldn't get it off, so I took these screws off. Thought this was interesting. When you take this off, the whole faceplate, the buttons and everything, is just the cover of that. So the volume knob that I was having problems with is part of that whole faceplate, but I was able to take the Allen out of that set screw, and the volume knob popped right off. which is awesome. And then there's a little set through here. Then I was thinking maybe that's why that knob is not working. Maybe whoever pulled this or did this, or if that's whatever, that's what's caused that volume to not work. So I need to be very gentle with the one I want to use. And it was kind of funny. I just literally grabbed and pinched and it popped right off. It's barely even on there. So the cool part is I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put the factory knob back on it, turn it down. I don't think there's a stop to the knob then. And then I can put the new knob on, set the screw on, and ta-da! The new one will work. I can hear my nose plugging up, so I'm going to stop, go blow my nose, and finish this up a little more. Well, good news is knob's in, knob works, stuff comes on, volume comes up down nice, Bluetooth works, which I already programmed, set to the phone. Does it work with while recording? So that's Bluetooth. I don't know if you heard that. It has a funny little connected sound. But downside to the situation, turn Bluetooth off, goes back to radio. So it's a very simple operation, works great. But because the volume knob before would go full blast, the speakers are toast. They are completely blown. When you give it a little bit of bass or turn it up, it just sounds kind of garbagey. So the good news is the little motor that's in this has an awesome sound and sounds amazing, but that'll be the next small upgrade, is some speakers for it, because the speakers are completely gone in it. But let's get her buttoned up. Let's get this put in and put all back together. Radio works. So that is great news. And the antenna works. Everything's picking up that way. We'll put it all back together, and then I'm going to decide if my stuffed up head, if I want to stick my head upside down and try to fix that clutch today. Well, that just made me feel really stupid, but there is only one way this metal ring goes on. There's a little pin here, and there's a big pin over here, and there's a big hole in the leather and a little hole in the leather that goes through here that lines this up to get these holes on. Oh, I took this on and off like 1,000 times. I was like trying to line up the holes and couldn't get it to go. And yeah, you know, it's part of projects. So button this back down. I was just staring at the door while I was working, and I'm noticing screws holding the little mesh screen to the speaker. And I'm really wondering if I can get those speakers off without taking the entire door panel apart, because that would be, you know, fan-diddly-tastic. But I'm pretty sure, come on shakes, I'm pretty sure I have to take the whole door panel apart, which would also suck. But we'll get those tightened down. I want to take those screws out and see what else I can find. Oh, one other small issue the car had. On a, let's just say, one of my last drives, when I was on a closed course and had it over 150 miles an hour, I started hearing a really loud rattling. It was tut, 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 tut. And I was like, oh no. And then I could totally tell it was something flapping, not like mechanical. And when I got home and parked it, this seal that goes on top the windshield was actually loose and flopping. So I've got to pull this out and put some adhesive in, so it looks like there's enough air force going across the windshield that this will actually lift up and flap, because this whole seal was lifted up here and it was flapping up against that. So a little aerodynamics repair, but that's one more thing to take care of. Radio works wonderfully. Oh, I might stick my head up under that dash and take a look at that clutch. Just took the screws out and checked this out. The speaker comes out of the door without taking the entire door panel apart. So super awesome. That'll be a quick, easy, get some speakers and throw them in. China Ching Ching Chung Kong speakers. That's funny because these stereos are, I believe, they say on them, they're like Alpine or something that they're made by at the time. Because like my one Chrysler for a while, they ran Infinity. So you had Infinity speakers and things. Which maybe that's just the head unit, but the actual speakers are cheap garbage. I'm not sure. Oh, right there, Alpine. Oh, yeah, so it's like an Alpine system or speakers that are in it. Probably have to figure out how to take this centerpiece out to get those off, but that is that. Yeah, this was an Alpine stereo system at the time. All right, well, cool. Yep. This fucking car is so cool. All right, let's close that up. Check this out. These speakers that I thought were speakers, I took this center ring off, and that's not a speaker. It's a hole. I think the speakers are behind here. These are just passages to the speakers that I think are behind the seat or something. That is super odd. So I guess I will be tearing into that to figure that out. Put those back in. All right. Huh. Interesting. It's probably under that back hatch of some sort. I'll throw the speaker back in it. Let's see if I can get the camera down here to show you what I'm dealing with. So these pedals up in here, there's the mechanism, and the bar attaches to this. This is the motor that rides on that pin. And see, if I pull this out, you can see how far the pedal comes down versus sliding it back in, which goes up in that position. So that's all the way up, that's all the way down. I have to get up in there where the threaded rod is, way at the top of that. I can barely touch with my fingers, and I have to thread that onto that and then fit it on. If I take, if I take this pin out, which is, that one, pull that pin, I can take that motor and pivot it off just a little bit. That puts tension on the driver up on top. That might give me enough room that I can spin that nylon piece on and then feed it on the shaft. And the shaft, if I can hold the camera, I can't even see the shaft. It's in there somewhere. So yeah, I will slide that up, see if I can get the shaft on it, and go from there. But that is what I am dealing with, and trying to get my arms and hands and things in there is what makes it difficult. Oh, actually, there you go. So if you see that shaft right there, I can touch it with a screwdriver. That's the shaft. I have to get that little Jesus clip pulled off and not lose it. So, all right. So, yeah. And when I talk about fitting in a little area, that's what I'm trying to do. All to get, you got to get the sleeve of that threaded on, and I have to have it timed in the same position as the others. So I can't just spin it. It needs to be in the same clocked position. So wherever the other one is in the threaded position. So I'm going to have to somehow reach around my head, hit the knob, and run the pedals up and down until they're in the same position before I put this back together and then put all those little clips in without losing all those little clips. I'm going to turn this off so I can say a lot of foul language and see what I can get done. All right, back on top, I just tore this piece apart. So this is the mechanism that goes on the pedal, that goes on the piece. And I could not get the little nylon bushing on there at all. It's threaded, would not thread. They are different from the brake to the clutch. They're a different pitch thread. I just took this one off, can't put it on this one. This one went right on. This one goes right on. They're a different pitch, and there's only a right and a wrong way to thread it on as far as what starts and what stops. So I had to take this apart and get the clutch because I took the brake. I had the brake bushing piece. So there is a difference in between the bushing, between the brake and the... All right. Try it again. I flipping got it. Ah. All right. So that is that. So push the button. Pedals are up. Push the button. Pedals are in. All three fully extended in. So that is that. All right, little girl. Pick up some tools. So, I am really glad I got that entire assembly, because apparently that is a difference between the clutch bushing and the other bushing. So I'll put this kind of sort of back together. Here's the old broken one. You can see it was just the sleeve, but the little plastic piece broke. And now it's basically fully functioning for the year of it. The thing runs absolutely great. It's running beautifully. I had a lot of fun in it yesterday driving it around. I had to laugh. This is the old car shop that I've built. I built this entire car in here. This girl, full rotisserie. I had a kind of a homemade framework up here. The car was kind of tied. Actually, at one point, my rotisserie broke and the car fell, and I had ratchet straps going from that window to the door to some screws and trying to pull it back up. It's kind of scary and sketchy, but yeah, from ground up, that car was built right where this is sitting now. And sitting on the wall over here of all my random things is an old picture of a dream car that I've always wanted. And, well, let's just say, dreams can come true with lots of loans from banks and borrowing and signing, but you know what? That's a cool look right there, isn't it? Well, it's officially now dark out. That's got done. Radio works, clutch works. The paint inside is dry. So go clean up in the other garage. Call it a day. Everyone have a wonderful Christmas. Peace out.